Hello, I'm Mary Beth Carty, a Women's Fund member, group captain of Hearts of Carpinteria, and a proud board member for Carpinteria Children's Project. Welcome to the Women's Fund Forum on Early Child Care, Nurturing Strong Children and Families. This educational forum features two of our grantees, the Carpinteria Children's Project and the Children's Resource and Referral Services of Santa Barbara County, exploring the critical role that early childhood education plays. You will see two brief introductory short films, and then hear Eileen Monaghan's informed overview about early childcare education, followed by a panel discussion. We hope this forum will bring you a deeper understanding of this community need, a greater insight into the work of these grantees, and a shared sense of pride in the Women's Fund in supporting such stellar organizations.
Welcome to the Early Childhood Education Program.
Thank you for calling Children's Resource and Referral of Santa Barbara County. How can I help you? Claro, con gusto la atiendo. Sí, un momentito. Déjeme abrir el programa. Ahorita la atiendo.
CR&R is the one stop for all things childcare. If any family looking for childcare, needing help paying for that childcare providers wanting to open a childcare, we do everything here.
We started in the parks with after-school programs and parent education, and now we've grown to what we are with two very distinct programs. One being the family services side, where we cover finding childcare, subsidizing that childcare, and serving the most at-risk families in our communities. And provider services, where we focus on the professional development and the high-quality early learning environments throughout our community.
The Children's Resource and Referral Program happens to be really the heart of what Children's Resource and Referral is. We serve every family, no matter their income level.
We know how hard it is to find childcare, but we also understand how hard it is to afford childcare. The average cost of care is between $700 to $1,800 a month. We have programs here that can help support financially families so that all children have access to safe, quality, inclusive childcare settings so that parents feel confident to work or go to school.
In provider services, we serve childcare providers all the way from opening up a new childcare license and all the way up through national accreditation.
Yeah, it's pretty remarkable, and it's great to develop a network of like-minded business women who support one another and who kind of navigate this childcare and early care and education field. Like in SIP, Childcare Initiative Project, where they are brand new to the field and they see value in early childhood education, but don't quite understand the business side of it. So we provide over 24 hours of training every year on best business practices and how to engage appropriately with children and child development milestones, what to look for if a child's not meeting those milestones.
What I love about that program is how we have coaches who go directly into their homes and help them set up the environment so that it's ready. When licensing comes out, they are ready and very quickly get their license.
One unique thing about the network is that seasoned childcare providers who have been in the field for a long time can mentor and bring alongside newer licensees and really show them what they could have in their program and how they can really impact the lives of children.
When we redo the classroom every season, we pull out stuff, and we found this, it was a blast to the past, a summer project that the kids, I always have a big giant can, it's a coffee can actually, and it's filled with pictures, what we haven't put in our photo album. And so the children started putting them together and they created this on a summer afternoon. And most of these children either already have children. A couple of them actually are working for me now. One is over here. She's one of our assistants. Super amazing. So, but you made me cry now.
Another aspect to a high quality environment is the nutrition and the food that's served. One unique thing about R&R is that we also have food monitors that support childcare providers in providing high quality nutritious meals and snacks every day. So one thing that we really value in the workplace here at R&R is workplace wellness. And one way that we do that, in addition to providing our team members with individual spaces where they can work, but we provide them spaces outside of their office that they can access throughout the day.
Exactly. We like to have different areas set up, like our wellness center, for example, our Serenity Suite, and other spaces where they can go and be together or be independent.
I often will see a team member on Zoom while they're on the elliptical.
One of my favorite things that we've done here at R&R is how we embrace our employees. They are family. We are family here. And a really special way that we've done that is with our memory wall.
Although all 25 pieces of canvas were so unique in their different way, we painted them without even knowing what our neighbor was painting. And when we pieced them all together and it showed what beauty our agency really is, because we come with such uniqueness and closeness, but we're all different and we embrace that about one another. And without every single one of us, it's not the whole picture. I remember being 16 years old, number 9, the youngest of the big family. And we drove into town and I opened the door and there he was, my little brother. He was just perfect. And I thought, where are all his things? And he had a grocery bag with a dirty blanket. And that was it. But if we had the bridge program, if we had a navigator there walking alongside us, I can't imagine how much more supported we would have felt. You know, my story was not unique in that there's thousands of families that experience this. And I was so happy to hear one of our bridge families was willing to come and share a little bit of her story.
You know, as a working mom, I was actually working in Santa Barbara and commuting. I needed to have daycare. This is like my life's work. I've always wanted to be able to help and support disadvantaged children. So during that time, I got this beautiful call that a child that was brought into the system that was related to one of my other children, it gave me the opportunity to foster another child and still go to work. And the cool thing about her adoption is that we didn't tell our older son that she was his sibling, because we didn't know if we could keep her. When we did get to tell him, we told him in court. And the moment was amazing. So the alternative payment program has been an instrumental thing because unfortunately during a time several years ago, I was giving one of my children CPR and I lost a lot of my vision. And so being legally blind, I can do a lot of things, but I was an auditor. And so I was not able to go back to my previous line of work. So with all of that being said, I can still allow my children to access the education that they had when they were being fostered. They can continue with the same program, and I can actually go and be retrained for another job.
Our vision is that all children would have access
to high quality, safe and inclusive environments that build a foundation for lifelong learning. It's so amazing to think about all the things that we've accomplished in the last 50 years, and I can't wait for what comes next.
Let me introduce Eileen Monaghan. Eileen is a passionate advocate for high quality early care and education and has worked in the childcare field for over 20 years, including serving as Santa Barbara County's childcare coordinator and manager for First 5 Santa Barbara County's early care and education funding area. Since 2017, her company, Eileen Monaghan Consulting, has consulted on projects with community organizations, school districts, housing developers, and the state, including work on the California Master Plan for Early Learning and Care. Eileen holds a bachelor's degree in developmental psychology from the University of California at Santa Barbara, with continued learning in early care and education, land use, government policy, birth to grade 3 systems, and work-life strategies. We're grateful that Eileen said yes to providing a concise lay of the land as it relates to early child care and facilitating the following discussion, and we thank her for her valuable time. And thank you for tuning in.
Thanks for the introduction, Mary Beth. I am so happy to be here talking about high quality childcare, which is my favorite topic. I have learned over my many years in the field that high quality childcare is a solid 2-generation and community investment in good times and in bad. We've all heard by now the importance of the first 5 years when 90% of the brain develops, and how that brain develops has a lasting effect on child success in school and in life. And during these turbulent times, it's critical that children have stable and nurturing environments to support their development. And we know consistent, reliable childcare is necessary for working and student parents. If we thought childcare was challenging prior to the pandemic, we learned it could get worse, especially for mothers. 80% of those who left the workforce since the beginning of the pandemic were women, somewhere around 3 million women, much of it due to the lack of childcare. All this support for children and families is also beneficial for the community. Our society and our economy grow by leaps and bounds when children get a strong start in life and parents can be productive at work and school. But it must be high quality childcare. If it is, the return on investment can be up to $14 for every dollar invested. To help ensure quality in Santa Barbara County, we have Quality Counts, which helps ensure that we are getting that return on investment for our community. But the childcare industry, which is operated and staffed mostly by women, many who are women of color, and many who themselves are parents of young children, has faced its own crises and challenges during the pandemic. And now those providers are struggling, just trying to hold on, being there for us over the past 2 years. They have remained open so that essential workers could care for us, and now they need our help. The exciting and hopeful news around childcare is that our governments have plans to invest heavily in developing a stronger system to help all families. The plans won't solve everything, and they will take several years to implement, but they're absolutely unprecedented, and it's a great start. The State Master Plan for Early Learning and Care, together with the federal Build Back Better plan, envisions high quality, free, inclusive, and mixed delivery systems, including childcare and universal preschool, Both plans also include supports for parents and for providers. Both will take years to fully implement. These plans together, if sustained, have the potential to solve some of the foundational challenges that have kept us from having a solid childcare system in this country. And both have the potential to displace or disrupt current providers if not implemented well. It's important to remember that most of the federal funding will come to us through a state plan that must be vetted with stakeholders, you and I, before being sent for approval to the federal government. This is a once-in-a-lifetime moment, recovering from a pandemic while considering a fully functioning childcare system. Our energy, our resources, and our perspectives are needed to ensure that this transition is done right for our children, our families, our loyal childcare providers, and our communities. Okay, now I'd like to introduce two of our local organizations that support young children and their families. We have Children's Resource and Referral with Michelle Graham and Jackie Banta, and we have Carpenter Children's Project with Teresa Alvarez. Welcome, everyone. I'd like to first ask if you could just talk a little bit about each of your organizations, and we'll start with Children's Resource and Referral. You serve the entire community and you support childcare. So can you tell us what you do? How are things going?
Thank you, Eileen, and thank you for that beautiful intro. We are Children's Resource and Referral of Santa Barbara County. We were first established in 1971 and are a true grassroots nonprofit organization. We started in the parks providing after-school programs and parent education classes, and we've grown to what we are now. We have two real distinct programs. We have Family Services Department and we have a Provider Services Department. Our Family Services really focuses on family strengthening, which includes alternative payment programs for low-income, at-risk, and foster children to be able to access childcare and hopefully be more kindergarten ready. Our Provider Services provides technical assistance and professional development training to childcare providers in our community to ensure that it's not only safe childcare, but it's high quality childcare.
Great. Thanks so much, Jackie. Teresa, do you want to tell us about Carpenter Children's Project and what you do and how everything's going there?
Absolutely. Thank you, Eileen, and great to hear from Children's Resource and Referral. The Carpenter Children's Project was established in 2009 under the school district, the Carpenter Unified School District, and we spun off and became our own nonprofit in 2016. So we are a newish 501c3, but since 2009, we've been helping children prepare to be kindergarten ready, and we know that that can't happen if their families are facing extenuating circumstances at home. So we provide a variety of family supports that support the family as well as the community. So aside from early childhood education and the classrooms that we have, we also have a family resource center, and we support the community of Carpinteria here in town.
Terrific. All right, so we have some questions for you, and since both of your organizations support young children and families, we've combine these questions together, and I'll, if you want to just go ahead and respond, then that will be fine. So let's see, our first question is, what do you see as the childcare and family supports that our communities are going to need in the future if the COVID pandemic continues? And then the second question is, how might these state and federal resources that are coming down help them?
I'll go ahead and speak to that. You know, what we learned through this pandemic is how vital childcare is to our workforce. In no other time in history have we seen the need for childcare. People were out of work, people couldn't work, many had to stay home, as you referenced in the beginning, Eileen. And we see this as an ongoing problem if the pandemic should continue. Right now, 1/3 of the workforce has chosen not to work. And with that, childcare is a key factor.
Right. Yes.
Yeah, similar to what Jackie was mentioning, I think one of the challenges that we've seen as well is the lack of stable housing. So that has come up for a lot of our families. We've seen more and more families that are having issues with homelessness, and that then affects their ability to go to work or to care for their children. So we are living in a time where these issues are really being exacerbated by the pandemic.
And to piggyback off of what Michelle said, we learned, and we've known it, the people in this field, but the state and federally, we've been recognized as really the backbone to the economy recovering and to the economy sustaining. And so how do we do that? We ensure that people feel like their children are safe and nurtured in childcare settings so that they can feel confident and safe and focused at work. And we learned in the pandemic that we needed paramedics, we needed firefighters, we needed grocery store clerks, we needed doctors, we needed nurses. But we not only needed them there physically, we needed them there mentally and focused, because everyone was exhausted. And how do they show up ready to work? It's knowing their children are safe. And no person, especially no woman, should have to decide between working and ensuring their children are safe. And so the new state acknowledgements comes with dollars, which really that's what was needed. And we're now confident that we can support more children, hundreds, if not thousands more children in our county, to ensure that they have access to childcare so families can work confidently.
And you have a new resource for that at Children's Resource and Referral, and probably County Education Office too. Did you want to talk about that? For the subsidies for families?
Yeah, we have just been given millions of new dollars in Santa Barbara County, both Children's Resource and Referral, as well as County Office of Education. And with those dollars, we will be able to enroll thousands of children into the alternative payment program. And what that means is that we will be able to pay for childcare for low-income families and those working, going to school, seeking employment, so that they have the confidence, as Jackie so eloquently shared, that is needed to be able to go back into this workforce and go while their children are in a safe and healthy environment.
And that feeds back into this idea of children's brain development too, that if children are in supportive settings, they're going to fare better, which is good for everyone.
Yeah, and thank you for mentioning that, Eileen, because as a provider, we're truly seeing the impact we're starting to see the impact of those dollars. So 60% of our children here in the program are on some sort of subsidized childcare. So we are just thrilled to learn that there are more dollars that are available to families so that they can access quality care.
Great. And so since we're on the topic, what does childcare cost in Santa Barbara County? And aside from the alternative payment program, what are the other opportunities for parents to get help paying for childcare?
Childcare can range from anywhere from $1,000 a month to $1,700 a month and upwards. And then after school programs bring in an additional ratio. So it's expensive, and it's expensive in California. It's expensive in Santa Barbara County. And so we're happy that our subsidized programs can help so many families to access childcare. There are several alternative payment or subsidized childcare options in our county, but again, funding's always, real kind of restricted based off of need and based off of income level.
All right. So since you both, or three of you, both of your organizations are on the ground with families, I wonder, and with childcare providers, I wonder if you can each share a story about a challenge of mothers or childcare providers or employers, what they have faced during the pandemic that's different than pre-pandemic.
Well, I can speak to the employer side. We have approximately 30 employees here at Children's Resource and Referral, and we have grown immensely in the past several months and really over the course of the pandemic. As an employer, it's so important that you give an environment where employees feel safe, healthy, especially during times of such crisis that we have faced. So we had to pivot and change and reestablish new policies and procedures, allowing staff to work from home, allowing people to come in on varied schedules as they navigate through childcare issues themselves, and then creating an environment that we feel that people, again, feel safe, but also feel valued and appreciated and able to have an environment where they can work and give back to a community that is so desperately in need when they too are in need and going through the crisis with them.
It's like supporting everyone's mental health, right?
Yeah, I would absolutely agree with that. Michelle, we have also seen that a lot of our staff are just, very stressed out, very burnt out. Not instability, but there are a lot of unknowns with COVID, and there are a lot of unknowns in the early child care field. And so we're really feeling that the staff are feeling that pressure. And then, like Michelle was saying, their lives themselves, what they're experiencing at home has really been an impact on our staff. And also it's been really hard to hire. We are unable to find substitute teachers that can come in and relieve some of our staff so that they can take the sick time that they need or the time they need away from the classroom to care for their children, which we're seeing as a challenge as well for some of our families, that they have to make a decision, if a lot of the symptoms that we're seeing in the classroom that are related to COVID, means that the child needs to be out, which then means that the parent has to be out. And so one of the stories I have to share is of a mom whose child tested positive for COVID. And because Carpenter is such a small town, we later found out that the mom was bringing the child to work with her. I mean, she just had to make that decision. It was, she couldn't find anybody to help take care for the child, but she still needed to work. She still needed to pay her rent, buy food. And unfortunately, those are some of the choices that parents are having to make. So it's been a very difficult time, I think, for everybody across the board.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we have heard countless stories like that, Teresa, and the community. We have a family in particular who were essential workers. One was a grocery store manager, and her husband did deliveries for the grocery stores across the Central Coast, and their family needed consistent childcare. They accessed high quality childcare in one of our family childcares here in Santa Maria, and were able to continue to work. They then were able to access some subsidy dollars through our essential workforce dollars that came in during the pandemic. And then once new dollars came into alternative payment, we were able to transfer them into a longer term solution. They were so grateful, but we've heard countless of stories just like that one.
And it seems like the impact on the organization as a whole for all of this, for the child care operators, for Children's Resource and Referral and other similar organizations, there's also a heavy toll that you're individually working with families, individually working with childcare providers, whereas it seems like pre-pandemic it was more groups where like there were services available for everyone, and it seems like there's a lot more individual support that's needed through the pandemic.
Well, and that goes to our trauma-informed care training and coaching that goes on through Children's Resource and Referral. Each one of our coaches holds a caseload in center-based programs and family child care programs, and they're able to individualize their supports for that site dependent on the children's situations. But not only do they focus on supporting the child, but they focus on caregiver resiliency, which we really value. Just as Michelle described, it's important that our team members can take care of themselves, but it's also important that our childcare providers really know how to set back, reset before the next day, and come in ready to engage with children in a high quality and effective way.
Similarly to what Jackie was sharing, we have partnered with CALM, who has a grant through Cottage to provide reflective practice for our staff, and that has allowed them to come and have a conversation about what they're feeling, not only individually as teachers, but also what they're seeing in the classroom, and to be able to better support the families that they're serving. And additionally, we are working also with Cottage and the local clinic and some other partners to provide buffering services, which is what we're calling them. And they're basically services that help mitigate the stresses that families are seeing at home. So yoga, meditation, we have swim classes, access to nature, family strengthening field trips, things like that, to give families a chance to, like you were saying, Jackie, just sort of reset and recharge and spend some time with their children where they don't have to worry about anything. We can take care of all of that for them. So that's been great.
I love hearing how resilient our community is in responding to the needs of the families here. It's, I think, and to the childcare providers. We've lost far fewer childcare providers than other counties have, and I think that that's part of it, is everyone has rallied and supported. And that brings us to the last question, which is, there's a proposal before the Board of Supervisors to invest $2 million in childcare relief and recovery for our county. And they have agreed to hold on to that and revisit in April what the actual plan might be to distribute those dollars. And I wonder if you, and I'll just say quickly that the relief and recovery is to support childcare providers to build back from all of the stress and strain, financial and otherwise, on their organizations to be able to support the community as it reopens and recovers. And so, you know, what do you think will be the impact of those funds if when they are distributed?
Well, what we've learned is that childcare providers had an immense loss during the pandemic. And not only have we all experienced loss during this pandemic, but they've experienced financial loss anywhere from $13,000 to the hundreds of thousands of dollars their different programs have lost. And so first and foremost, the dollars from the Board of Supervisors would allow us to provide immediate relief to those childcare providers who so graciously continued to support families throughout the pandemic so that they could work. Many families that couldn't even pay them for providing the service. And then secondly, to rebuild. We're looking at more spaces in both center-based and family childcare. And so we would expand with coaches and expand the availability to those families, which complements the additional dollars we have in alternative payment to ensure that not only can we pay for those spaces, but there's spaces for those children to go to.
Right. And I think for Children's Resource and Referral, and I know for the partnerships here in our county, it has always been important to provide high quality childcare. And through this pandemic, we have learned that when emergencies happen, we have to focus on safety and health as priority. And of course, we have done so. But we cannot forget the importance of quality childcare to ensure that every child is prepared for kindergarten, is ready for life, and has a solid foundation to begin.
Mm-hmm. Teresa, do you have any thoughts as a childcare provider who might be a recipient of those funds?
Yeah, I think for us, it would really mean being able to support our staff who have truly gone through a lot. And I think I would also take this moment to thank the Women's Fund for their support and their funding because we were able to keep all of our staff with the funds that we were awarded. We didn't have to lay anybody off, and we got creative in the ways that we were going to engage our teachers during the time that we were closed. And they were, you know, we've been resilient in that piece, but these are also the moms that are working to support their families and who have children who are young and who are in our programs. So it's really us giving, you know, that funding and that support back to the community because all of our teachers live here in Carpenter. And so for us to be able to serve the rest of the families that we are serving through our programs also means that we're able to support our staff and their families because they are a part of that community. So we are very appreciative and grateful for that.
Terrific. All right, so unfortunately it's time to wrap up. And so I'll just say that here we are in the midst of this crazy, awful pandemic with all of the support happening in our community and this potential wild fantasy come true for childcare and investment in the systems. So what do we do? What is the, what are the couple of things that you think need to happen in our county next?
Well, I personally believe the awareness for families is so key for them to understand, one, that there is much help available to them, that there are organizations that are able to support them in these times of need. One of the biggest things we know at Children's Resource and Referral is that finding childcare is often the most difficult decision you have to make as a parent. And so knowing that there are good quality, safe environments for children to go to while parents are working. So awareness is so important to our future.
We urge you not to forget the value you've placed on childcare. It doesn't matter politically what side of the aisle you stand on, that our economy cannot recover or sustain without a true investment and value placed on childcare.
We would truly like to thank the Women's Fund for your commitment to childcare in Santa Barbara County, for your belief in us at Children's Resource and Referral. We will be creating 240 new spaces because of your support.
And I would just add to what Michelle and Jackie shared that having a holistic approach to helping and supporting families, not only through childcare, but for us as a provider, also seeing what other needs they're having, if it's food and, providing those supports, mental health, supporting them with ACEs. ACEs screening is happening across the county. And so for us to be able to connect them to a wellness navigator and help them through those situations so that they can be the parents that they want to be to their children. And so I think just attacking the problem from all angles is really the key, and all of the partnerships that are so beautifully coming together across the county are really going to make a difference.
Well, I would like to thank the three of you for all that you do and for being here today and sharing information with us. And I wanted to just end by saying that, sharing that Deepak Chopra says that all great changes are preceded by chaos. And I feel like right now we're in a bit of chaos, but it is the time to take advantage of that and make some really great change. I recommend that we all drop everything and support our current childcare system and support for families while advocating at the state and the federal level for the details of what will come out in these plans to make sure that they're going to be good for our children and our families and our providers and our community. Thank you all.